for the people out in the world, why don't you just tell them just the basics, like who you are, where you got the idea for this project, and why it's so awesome.
Sure. So we are Trive, and we kill fake news with crowds and crypto. So we crowdsource primary research into news stories. We compensate people for that research with our coin, Trive coin, and we hash and stash results on the blockchain to make sure that the research is stays forever and can't be changed, and you can always see if there's any problems and those kinds of things. Just to make it really, really simple. So as far as I am, so my name is David. I was born in Kiev. I was raised in New York City, in Washington Heights. I've been writing code since I was about 13, so that's about 35 years now. I was actually writing code this morning, so still at it every day. Every day. I started in New York in the dot-com world in '94 as the employee number 5 at Bigfoot.com. We were one of the first email providers. And then ended as the CTO of BigStar.com, where I had a budget of $3.5 million, a team of 20. We went public. And I did all of this without having any degrees. I'm autodidact. And then after the dot-com bubble imploded, I went back to school. I got my bachelor's from SUNY. I got my MBA from Columbia. I spent 6 years at IBM. I spent about 3 years living abroad in Asia and staffing a VIP. That's always a lot of fun. He had me buy him a modeling company in Florida, so I moved back to Florida and ran a modeling company for him. And I've been in the Bitcoin world since about 2013, starting first as a miner. Then I had a couple of different companies. We developed some software, something called Mining Slicer, which took a big miner and made it into lots of small miners. My wife and I were the first couple to get married in the blockchain about 3 years ago, actually. So Coins in the Kingdom, you're welcome to Google and look all of that up. They carried it in the Times, the Post, and so on. And so now I'm doing Tribe for the last year, and it's really, really exciting. I believe that the truth is the truth no matter who speaks it. And I believe that the truth has to be sacrosanct, that if we need to truly have a fair, equal, good society that we all enjoy, at the very least, we need to understand what the truth is behind everything. Did more people show up at Donald Trump's inauguration than at Obama's? I personally don't care. But people have they want to know the answer to that question. Okay. Were the Russians involved? Well, let's collect all of that evidence and put all of that together and see how that goes. And I have to tell you, my inspiration really comes in many ways from the kids on 4chan. So if you've ever, the weaponized autists, if you know the stories about them, I mean, they're astounding, right? I mean, they were able to shut down Shia LaBeouf's He Shall Not Divide Us project in 24 hours with nothing but a blue sky as a background. And the issue here isn't what do you think of his project and what do you think of them shutting it down. The issue is that they were able to geolocate a flag on a pole with nothing but a blue sky in the background, sitting from, somewhere, anywhere in the world. It's incredible. They're able to call it an airstrike on ISIS using Russian military, literally, right? Like here's what happened. Yeah. It was amazing. So ISIS puts out a YouTube video talking about their new training camp. 4chan gets interested. They look at the video and they figure out where it is on the map by using geospatial clues and heights of surrounding objects and so on. And then somebody on the channel has access to the Russian military, so they call it in. 4 days later, paper carries the headline: ISIS training camp destroyed. It's fantastic.
That's insane.
But yeah, it is. But and these are just kids, doing their thing. I don't want to say sitting in their mom's basement, but that's the stereotype. And so what I want to do is I want to design a product that allows them to take that effort to processize it and then to get paid for it. I want them living full and rich lives from the salaries that they make using our software. That's the goal.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, I know you don't know squat about me, but I'll tell you that, I'm a voluntarist, so I believe in not using force to force anyone to do anything that they don't want done to them. And bit of an anarchist too. I don't think the governments are doing a great job for us. So I think all these decentralized systems that we're building are eventually going to make the government irrelevant, because we'll just be running our own finances, our own we'll fund our own news, our own everything. We don't really need to be told anything,
Right.
or force used against us. So so for me, I've been noticing this problem for a while. Like as a YouTuber, right? I made a living as a YouTuber for many years, being a dating coach. And I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about, and I have another channel where I just I'll rant about anything. I used to be a stand-up comic. I believe in 100% freedom of expression. So if you don't like what I'm saying, don't listen. Don't watch my
Right.
channel. I should be able to say what I want to say. and it's amazing because the government will lie, cheat, steal, bomb countries, do whatever the hell they want to. But if you say the wrong thing or that it's politically unacceptable, oh, we shut this guy down. He should, it's completely, the hypocrisy of it is just absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely.
I can't take it anymore. So any project that is about genuinely spreading the truth, and really like looking at the facts and just showing like what is actually happening. Never mind all the bullshit, like a verified system.
Right.
That can change the world in such a profound way. Like it wouldn't be that. I mean, it's already happening. It's already happening just because just by the nature of the internet, some sources of truth are going to leak out. So at least it's available. But it's not gamified. It's like you don't really like you have to just you have to do your own research. So if you had one place
Right.
where it's like here's the reputation system here. It sounds to
Yep.
me like it's going to be reputation system. People are
Yep.
going to be uploading all of their like everything. All the proofs are going to be there.
Yep.
So anybody who does, just understands how the system works will be able to figure out very quickly what's actually happening, regardless of what the U.S. government or other governments or other puppets or other media are saying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly why we just designed it as a DAC. So if you look at the white paper, and it's available on the website at trive.news, the system has two parts to it. It has a DAC and a corporation. The corporation is vulnerable, and I'm the head of the corporation. If somebody comes and holds a gun to my head, they're going to get me to change my mind. I'm not interested in that. The DAC spins off on its own. It becomes sort of like Bitcoin in that there's no major control. There's no one controlling it. There's a foundation that manages the protocol, but it's basically like just a bunch of developers that get paid to write code. The DAC stands on its own. It'll have its own community. It'll have its own people, and the way that we designed it is that it has lots of checks and balances in it. So, for example, if you're doing research, you get paid for that research. But if a verifier can prove that your research is false, the verifier takes your money. Takes your research payment, right? So now you have an incentive to make sure that you're always providing the truth. The verifier has an incentive to prove you wrong, and witnesses decide what those are. And you're absolutely right. Everyone in the system is completely anonymous. All we have is an Ethereum wallet address and a reputation score. And your reputation score decides on which of the roles you're able to do, so that by the time you become a curator, you have a true vested interest in making sure that the system remains sacrosanct and works well, because otherwise all of that extra work that you've put in will be destroyed. So yeah, and I agree with you completely that the truth has to be set free.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, the world we're living in right now, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like they just make shit up and expect people to believe it, and most people still do. That's the amazing thing. Most people are still like, well, yeah, the government. It's like, what part of like if you look at anything in our society, whether it's the medical system, financial system, taxation, anything. Like the health system has nothing to do with getting people healthy. It's about keeping people sick and getting paid.
Right.
The financial system, it's about taking as much money as you can by inflating the currency and printing up more money. It's not about helping people save up money or buy a house or have a life that's at all easy or successful or joyful. Not at all. So it's like everything, absolutely everything is on its head, including the news and the propaganda and everything
Yep.
we're told. So if we can just tackle. If we could just have one source of real verified news, I mean, it's such a game changer. This has to be decentralized because they're going to come after you. This has
Absolutely.
to be 100% decentralized because they will shut you down. It's going to be bad.
Absolutely.
If you
But here's the thing.
if you think there's been a war on YouTube with a demonetization, just wait until this shit is running.
Here's the thing, right? I don't care. And I'll tell you why I don't care, right? I was born in the USSR. I personally was born in Kiev, and I grew up for 10 years there, and I remember the bread lines, and I remember how great it was. I went to visit just a few months ago. It was wonderful, first time in 40 years. My uncle spent 15 years in the Gulag, right? So he was a reporter for the local paper, and he got arrested and then ended up being a coal miner for 15 years, right? We're dissidents. We're refuseniks. And this is why we live in New York, right? Or at least my parents live in New York. I live in Florida now. But this is why, right? Because we know how this is. And one of the scariest things here is watching this society become so much more like that society, using the exact same rules and processes. And so all of us are screaming like people, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. This is not the way the world should be. No one's paying attention. So this is my combat. And so I actually took an oath, right? So if you Google my name, you can find this in my Twitter feed and my Facebook feed multiple times. The oath goes like this. I dedicate my life to bringing the technology of cryptocurrencies to humanity. I would do it alone, naked, with nothing, for the thing itself. But I'm eternally grateful I won't have to. right? So that's my motto. And it's interesting that you talk about how everything is turned upside down. And so I actually did an hour on this a few years ago, including to the St. Petersburg Bitcoin Association via Skype. And what we talk about in that hour is that specialization leads to special access. So you look at Bernie Madoff. He was the ultimate specialist, right? He was the chairman of the NASDAQ. He had full insider. You look at the guys who did Enron. They were the smartest guys in the room. The voting problem in 2000 was hanging chads. Those were all political operatives. And the other one was MERS, right? The Mortgage Electronic Reconciliation System, which led to the 2008 real estate problems. That was blatantly illegal, but it was created by Wall Street anyway, right? The problem is that specialists have the keys to the kingdom, and the rest of us are just told to sit in the back and watch what happens and to trust them. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. And so blockchain technology gives us the ability to transparently see what they do, how they do it, why they do it, and then to challenge them on it. And so our system is exactly that. It's completely transparent. Everything that a particular anonymous wallet or pseudonymous wallet does is available in the chain forever and for posterity. And if we find that there's collusion between wallets, and potentially there could be statistically, then we will statistically remove those collusions and not allow those nodes to communicate. And all of those rules will be published ahead of time. They'll be available for everyone to see. The GitHub is open source. So, feel free to compile. And if you don't like what we're doing, make a competing version. Not a problem. Competition is healthy.
Exactly. And that's the type of attitude actually that made, the USA at one point the greatest country on the planet, because they really had that entrepreneurial spirit. Like there was real capitalism where anyone can really have a go. But we don't have that anymore. We don't have that in anything. We don't have that in the news. We don't have that in the economy. We don't have that in the medical system. It's all been corrupted by a very, very small group of people who, frankly, are very, very, I'm not going to say they're evil, but they're very confused. I think they're very hurt, and they really think that they need to control and dominate everyone and to be, quote, happy. I think if they, I think they need to work on themselves and do some self-development. And once they get in their hearts and realize, actually, we're all one, and there's plenty of resources for everyone, and we could just be happy and cooperate with each other. We'll get there. It's happening slowly. Yeah. People are waking up. We're getting there. But I think the blockchain and projects like yours are going to speed this process up, because it's going to be like, this technology is going to really even the playing field, man. It's so insane what's happening right now. I got into Bitcoin in 2013, and I thought that was the game changer. And now I'm like, no, that's just the tip of the iceberg, man. It's really going to liberate humanity. It's crazy.
Absolutely. I woke up one day at 3 a.m. and sat straight up in bed and said, "Oh shit, Bitcoin changes everything." And that was everything. And that was the point at which I said, I can't focus on anything else. Yeah. Like I tried to take consulting jobs to do other things that I've done in the past, like marketing and email marketing, those kinds of things. I just can't. It's not interesting to me, right? Like this is where my life is going to be for the rest of my life. One way or another, this is all I'm going to focus on, right? And so Trive to me is a really good first step. After this, we might do other stuff, but we have to get Trive really, really successful first. So yeah, absolutely.
I want to say, I like, especially like getting to know you a little bit and having a chat with you. I can see your heart is really in it. Like you're really doing this because you want to change the planet. And for me, that's the most important thing. Really, like all these like I invest in ICOs, and it's nice to make a profit. But when you get into a project that really has the right reasons behind it and the right people, I'm really, really passionate about this. So I'm really going to try and get this interview out to as many people as possible, so that we can just wake people up, man, and get the truth to the people. It's so important.
That'd be great. Well, so if you don't mind, I'll do me too. I'll do a little pitch. So we're in a private pre-sale now. So if everyone is interested, then reach out to me. We're at info at trive.news or pre-sale at trive.news. And then our public pre-sale starts October 15th, and our public ICO starts November 1st. So we'd love to have you all participate. And as a matter of fact, what we're trying to make sure that we get as many small investors as possible, because we truly believe that our investors and our token holders will be the users of the system, right? They're the heart of what we're doing. And by having the tokens early, it gives them the ability to have reputation scores add up and create a persona on the system and be a participant, and then over time become a curator and actually make a profit. So yeah. That's
fantastic. Awesome. What's the cap? Is there a cap per individual investor?
So in the private presale, there is not a cap. In the presale and the actual ICO, the cap will be about 10K, and right, because it's KYC AML rules, and If you want to invest more than that, then you have to reach out to me directly, and we'll put you on as an investor in the books, and we'll have your information and so on. It's unfortunate. We would prefer not to have information about the users. It's one of the reasons why we designed the system the way that we did. Unfortunately, we have to operate within the laws that we exist in. So.
Well, I think the laws we exist in are changing very quickly, so
I
I'm
agree.
looking forward to
I
that.
agree.
Dude,
Me
thanks
too.
so much. Really, really excited, and wish you all the success with your project.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it.